Are you constantly getting traded? Do you suck at holding bomb sites? Like aim and movement, positioning is one of the most important skills in CS2, which is why in this guide, I will be going over every aspect of positioning you need to climb the ranks in CS2 to whatever your desired rank may be. If you're not sure you can trust me, I'm Louis, a 3000 elo player on Faceit, and I play internationally with Team USA at LAN events around the world. I've included timestamps in the description below, so you can skip ahead or revisit any tip you like. Another concept that most low rank players don't understand or acknowledge is the concept of angle perception. Essentially, you want to be farther from the angle or the wall than your enemy. The closer you are to the wall, the earlier the enemy will see you, and vice versa. This happens because of the way of the camera works in Counter-Strike, so if you're hugging a wall, you won't see the enemy, but they'll be able to see your shoulder, putting you at a pretty big disadvantage. So in Counter-Strike, there are two main ways to hold an angle: through a standard common angle or with an off angle. So the issue I see with most players is that they don't really know when's the right time to use each one. First, let's go over what standard angles are and the possible issues that come with using them. So a standard angle is an angle that is very commonly played because it gives the player the ability to quickly escape or get behind cover. The problem with standard angles is the issue of peeker's advantage. Peeker's advantage basically means that due to human reaction time, ping difference, and the server tick rate, the person peeking has roughly a 700 millisecond advantage of seeing the opponent first. This means that if an enemy swings you, they'll be able to kill you before you can react, making it look like they're still running on your screen. The main idea you should focus on is not holding static angles. I see countless lower ranked players who like to hold angles while standing completely still, but doing this puts you at an extremely unfavorable position as the enemy already has their crosshair on your head when they peek out. So this is where the importance of jiggle peeking comes in. The idea is that you're playing on a standard angle or you don't have any advantage. You should constantly be peeking and unpeeking every 3 to 5 seconds. If you're constantly jiggle peeking, you can catch the enemies in the moment they already cleared you and they started clearing the next position. This puts the enemies in a really uncomfortable spot as you can peek them even after they've cleared you, giving you an edge over your opponent. This also creates a new timing for you as well. If you're constantly peeking out every 3 to 5 seconds, you are creating your own timing and it totally messes up whoever's trying to clear you because you're going to be peeking them after they've already cleared you. So simply jiggle peeking every 3 to 5 seconds can let you some easy kills, but just remember, do it at random time intervals so the enemy cannot predict when you'll peek them. Now moving on to off angles. The main question people ask is, when should I be playing off angles? And this is an important question to consider. The simplest way to look at it is that less enemy players there are on the map, the more off angles you should be playing. This is because you're less likely to get traded by an enemy teammate and gives you more room and chances to escape the situation safely. More specifically, there's actually two main types of off angles: a one and done and a protected off angle. An example of a one and done angle is when you're holding an off angle, let's say an A ramp on Mirage, and trying to catch the enemies off guard. They try to re-clear it. No one will swing pre-aiming you, giving you an element of surprise on the opponent. However, you're in the open and have nowhere to go if multiple enemies swing you, so this position is fairly decent if played correctly. However, what's even better is playing an off angle towards Tetris or Sandwich. This would fall into the second category of off angles known as protected off angles, and these are generally the best angles you should try to position yourself. In a situation of the enemies running through ramp, they will most likely clear right and aim towards stairs, but once they pass a certain point, you'll see them while they won't be looking at you, giving you a chance to kill and run back into Sandwich or under bow. Next, we're going to talk about the most important thing you can do to actually improve your positioning in CS2, but first, let me tell you about the Monkey. SkinsMonkey is a CS2 skins trading site marketplace that provides an instant way to get new skins. The favorite thing about SkinsMonkey is that I can trade skins that I no longer want and trade it for a skin that is equal value. If you use code LouisCS2, you get a $5 bonus on your first trade, and if you want to buy skins, you can get a 30% deposit bonus plus an extra 5% using my code. The link is down in the description. Thank you, SkinsMonkey, for sponsoring this video. So now that you have a good grasp on all the fundamental positioning knowledge, let's dive a bit more in depth talking about unpredictability. Being unpredictable is one of the most important factors when it comes to positioning, and while this concept may seem fairly simple, there's actually a lot more to it than just changing bomb sites. The idea of being unpredictable actually breaks down into 3 levels. The first and most basic level is your positioning before the round starts. Before every round starts, you should already have a concrete plan of where you're going to position yourself, how you're going to get away if the enemy pushes you, how you'll use your utility, and how your teammates will help you. If you're an opper, you should know where you're going to take your first shot and how you're falling back after getting a kill. If you're an anchor specifically, you should know how you're using your utility based on the enemy's economy and how you're playing off of your utility. All these things should be planned out, not on the spot, but before the round starts. Level 2 includes being unpredictable on the spot during your gunfights. The idea is that every time an enemy sees you, you reposition and change where you peek. But a good example is Donk, who has mastered this skill. Of course, you need to have decent movement to pull off these moves, but his repositioning is what makes him extremely unpredictable. So just remember to play positions where you can quickly pivot between angles. Level 3 is similar to level 2, except it's on a map scale. Essentially, you want to be unpredictable with your presence on a map. Just being alive and having presence on bomb sites can be extremely beneficial. So let's say you're playing train and you flank the enemy from ladder and get a kill from top ramp. Instead of peeking again, you instantly, and I mean instantly, rotate around to Z without the enemy hearing you. The enemies on site will have to worry about if a guy is flanking or not, which will result to them playing in unfavorable positions, all while you aren't anywhere where they expect you to be. The less players there are in the game, the more important this concept is. If it's a 5v5, the enemy has more map control and there is less guessing of where you can be. On the other hand, if it's a 1v1 or a 2v2 situation where the information is limited, keeping your location a secret will help you win and clutch way more rounds. The goal of all this is to keep the enemies on their feet, guessing where you can possibly be. One of the most fundamental concepts is always having a solid plan and being able to fall back quickly or escape the situation if the enemy team pressures you. So this obviously includes you knowing where to fall back if you miss your shots or need to reload, but one important yet overlooked aspect is considering the enemy's utility. You always have to consider the enemy team and what nades they have thrown. For example, if you want to play close on B side of train, listen to see how many flashes are being thrown outside at the start of the round. Doing this will give you an idea on how many flashes the T's will use to pop out on B if they decide to pop on the B bomb site late. And this also lets you know if you need to play anti-flash or expect any flashes at all. Now, if the enemy team likes to 5 rush with 2,000 flashes and 500 smokes, then most of the time it'll be better to play retake with your team instead of dying on site by yourself, because if you die in site by yourself, you contribute almost no value. While on a retake, you'll be able to get info, be able to communicate, and retake the bomb site altogether. Whatever the reason is, if you're the solo site player, your goal is to get a kill and more importantly stay alive, because if you die and they take the site and plant the bomb, the round is practically over. Another decent strategy if you're a solo bomb site player is to be a bit aggressive and gain some space for your team. For example, if you're solo B on Mirage and know that all the enemies are mid, then you can push up and take space away from the T's and the T apartments. If you die in this case as a solo, your team has enough time to rotate so the enemy doesn't get free plant. Understanding numbers on the map and how the T's are taking map control can guarantee you a lot of free space even if you play the A bomb site of Mirage, because if they are playing heavy towards mid, you can always get into Palace or ramp and get a lot of information and just cut the T's from coming back into the A bomb site and allowing your team enough time to rotate. So always remember to have a concrete plan in mind, and please don't die in sight by yourself. This brings me to my next point of communication and team play. You won't believe how vital of a role communication plays in positioning. Where you position yourself should have almost everything to do with how your team wants to play. For example, if you're playing more passive, you should always let your teammates know what angles you are holding so they can play crossfires or play off each other's contacts. Most of you guys already know this, so I won't go too in depth on explaining it, but a crossfire is essentially a setup of you and your teammate in which an enemy peeks both of you at the exact same time. This will force the enemy into choosing to fight either one of you, giving the other the opportunity to secure a kill. If your team wants to play a bit more aggressive on the other hand, you can time each other's flashes and decide when each person beats the enemy. Always remember that positioning with your teammate is always better than positioning by yourself. But what if you're silver and your teammates are dog water and don't listen to anything you say? It's common to be in a solo queue situation where no one is giving comms at every rank in the game, which can seem frustrating, but this doesn't mean you can't apply this knowledge to your games. Your teammates who decide to not use their mics or play as a team are players who are generally more tilted and play more aggressively. This can be used to your advantage because if they're constantly taking the first peek, that allows you to play off of them instead of peeking first and trusting them to trade you. Positioning is not only vital on the CT side, but also on the T side when holding down the bomb site post plants. When deciding on post plants positioning, your utility should be one of the most important factors. Always think about if you have util to be able to delay or stop the defuse. If the answer is yes, then you should be playing farther back to where you can use utility to delay the defuse. So for example, someone who is lurking is one of the best roles to delay the defuse. Most of the time, someone that is lurking will have most of their utility, which is important because they can help take extra map control with flashes or delay the CTs progressing by using his smoke, or even stop the defuse with their Molotov. Just remember that every second that ticks by, the higher the chances you have of winning the round. On the other hand, if you are playing a bit more aggressive role, you need to be playing closer up and trying to stop the CT's retake. For example, let's say you're playing a post plant and just use your utility to open up the A site on Mirage. Instead of running back to default or ramp, you should be playing a bit more aggressive and play ROPS or missiles, for example. From here, you can have your teammates flash for you on a timing to fight CT spawn, or have your teammates block CT and walk through their smoke at a random time. Additionally, if you're playing more aggressive positioning, then you should always try to play off contact of your teammates. An important tip that may seem obvious but is commonly overlooked is to remember to plant the bomb in the open, so it is exposed to the highest number of angles for your team. This will allow your teammates to have a lot more room to play around the bomb and peek off each other while keeping the enemies guessing. Understanding the fundamentals, having a solid plan, communicating with your team, and being unpredictable are some of the most important aspects of positioning, and when implemented can help you win a lot more games. If this video helped you, make sure to check out this video on how to improve your game sense in CS2.